I'm Josh. This is Colin. And this is Perseverance, our floating off-grid home. Come explore with us as we sail to new places, we learn how to protect our environment, and see how we coexist with nature. We'll also make lots of friends along the way. In our last episode, we were just arriving in Fort Lauderdale on our way to Lake Sylvia.
So Josh and I, back before we started cruising, when we had our old slip and a car, we drove to this park and walked around it. It's actually got like a public dock you can use to access the park. So we were just talking about maybe a good spot to bring Luna to and let her run around. Also, really cool building in this corner. So we are at Sunrise Bay. I think it says no overnight anchorage. Anyway, there's these controversial buoys that have been placed here that prohibit overnight anchoring. It's kind of a battle back and forth over whether these private entities can restrict anchoring. We believe they can't, that the water is public domain or whatever the equivalent is, but apparently these buoys showed up overnight and they're spaced throughout so that it makes it difficult to anchor, and there's two of them. Yeah, just Florida once again trying to let individuals ashore dictate where we can and can't anchor. Two illegal no overnight anchoring buoys were placed at the entrance of the bay without permits. Please ignore these buoys. Local authorities are not enforcing this. Good. We anchored here 4 days ago and have not been bothered by the Marine Police, who patrol regularly. Broward County Commission member told a friend, local resident, in November of this year, whoever placed the buoys has no jurisdiction over this water, and only U.S. Coast Guard or Fish and Wildlife could limit anchoring.
That's good enough for me. I mean, I would anchor there. We know people in Florida do stuff like this because they feel entitled to do whatever they want, because Florida is the most free place you can live in America, which is absolute BS.
It's the place where you're free to harass others the most.
Now that is true. So anyway, Sunrise Bay was a great anchorage. It still is. I would suggest using it at your own risk, I guess I should say, as a disclaimer, but...
Great access to the park.
Yeah.
Take the dinghy across, water taxi stop.
Isn't this closer to George English than where we're going?
Yeah.
So we might consider coming back here.
But the problem is you have to take the dinghy to the park and then go through here and go over. So I don't know that it's actually closer by the time you do all that.
Gotcha.
Well, the Old Lost Marina is completely gone. And that was a place we were intending to use for services. So I guess we won't be going there, and I think the nearest option, 17th Street, I think they have everything. Fuel, pump out, water. It's crazy, the whole marina's just gone. So first time coming into Lake Sylvia, and as you can see, it is a big shoal at the entrance. You have to either go on the east seawall or the west. A lot of the reviews agree that you should hug a seawall, but they are contradicting which. Some say hug the east, some say hug the west. It's gonna be tight, but we just hit low tide about half an hour ago and it's rising, so we're just gonna take it slow, and hopefully we get in.
One reason we elected to go on the east side of this entrance was because we saw a large blue sailboat docked on the seawall, so we figured that it's probably dredged pretty regularly so that boat can get in and out. And we actually went the other way in a friend's powerboat and saw 4.3 feet at zero tide.
9.9, 10.
Well, we successfully made it to Lake Sylvia.
Lake Sylvia.
We've never even seen this in person. You can't see it from the ICW, so every time we passed it when we were here before, we just never saw it.
And we passed two other well-known YouTube channels, their boats. They don't really know us, we just know them because they're like famous and we're not. But some famous people in our boating community. That was cool.
It's kind of tight, but it really isn't any tighter than anything else we've done before that's tight, so I think this will be good.
All right.
Yeah.
Just lowered the dinghy, and then we realized, wait, where's Luna?
What you doing? You are waiting so patiently. Okay, we're coming.
While in Fort Lauderdale, we found it somewhat difficult to find places to get to shore. If you're looking for good and legitimate places to get to shore, simply head west past the 15th Street Fisheries. Here you'll find Cox Boat Ramp, where you can land the dinghy. There's free pump out, water, trash, and a floating dock, where you can also bring the big boat. At the end of the canal, just past Cox Boat Ramp, there's the Southport Raw Bar, where you can land the dinghy for $10. We loved going to shore here because your $10 goes towards your bill if you buy a food or beverage, and there are a lot of very convenient stores around here for cruisers. There's 3 grocery stores, a Total Wine, Southport Hardware Store, an Ace Hardware that fills propane. There's a laundromat. There's also Amazon lockers at the Ross, and we even found a really good gluten-free restaurant called Fresh First. Colin even approved of their gluten-free biscuits.
So Josh just left to go chat with the neighbors to see if anybody knows whose catamaran this is in front of us and maybe has their contact info. We're getting ready to move the boat for a very specific time to pick up some solar panels and load them onto the boat. And this catamaran that anchored in front of us, they are over our anchor as we swing, and we're not going to be able to move the boat or retrieve our anchor unless they move, and unfortunately they are gone. They hopped the dinghy a little while ago and left. Their boat was not in this position when they left. The wind has since changed, and I don't think they realized how close they would get to us. So yeah.
So after dinghying around to several boats in the anchorage, I did find the phone number of the owner of this catamaran. I called them to let them know the situation and that I would be hopping on their transom so I could help Colin fend off our boat to allow him to weigh anchor. So as you can see here in this time lapse, luckily we were able to pretty easily get our boats apart. Colin weighed anchor while I kept our boats separated with the dinghy.
Alright, so we were on that side of the anchorage. Now we're over here, so we are re-anchored. We successfully fended off that boat. Thankfully, the anchor rods were not tangled on each other. And Josh used the dinghy as a powered fender. Josh played towboat or tugboat. You're like a tug.
Tug, I guess.
Tug, pushing it out of the way, and then we had a clear shot.
We need a bigger
the
outboard.
Boats never touched, so that was good. We got the anchor up no problem. I think the holding over there is actually not very good because I had 25 feet on the windlass, and the chain was straight out when the anchor came free.
I wonder what's up over there.
It's never, we're usually directly over it, like begging it to come up. So that's the first time it's pulled out.
Well, remember we were also on our friend's boat, Diva, which is Hatteras. Is that Hatteras, I think? It's a 74-foot
Oh,
boat.
yeah.
In any case, I was helping him anchor over there, and we kept dropping on something hard because you could see the anchor bouncing, and I've never seen our anchor do that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, like why are we drifting back so much?
It was almost like there was like a solid, when we were doing his anchor, like a solid,
something hard, like a
almost like
rocker.
Key West would be, where it's like shallow sand with coral under it.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that we couldn't get holding over there.
Dang. All right, so Lake Sylvia, there's two examples of not ideal holding, or at least lesser holding on the south side, so that's good to know. I messaged our friend that we are re-anchored and ready to resume the day, so we're going to be going and getting those solar panels. Josh will be soloing the boat over to the boat ramp once we have the panels in our friend's truck, and the plan is to rendezvous, load up the panels, come back here. That's the first time that's ever happened, really. I mean, you had to deal with it
we've
once.
We've had people close, but it never like
they were on the boat.
It was like they left, and then it was literally, we would have touched if we didn't stop it.
Yeah, the closest we got was 3 inches.
Yeah.
From our bow to their sugar scoop. And honestly, I was a little bit worried of their solar panels overhanging. They were going to contact our Genoa, actually probably before the hull. So I was trying to fend off because I didn't want to damage their solar panels.
Well, they're also not even, they don't look like they're moving now. He did say only had 35 feet out. I called him on the phone. We got his number from someone else in the anchorage. So,
which is like 12 feet over there. So if we pulled our anchor out at the 25 feet, I think they drug back.
Probably. I just hope we're not going to have more issues.
Yeah. So hopefully he's on his way back soon.
Originally, the reason we had to do all this is he said he was 35 minutes away, and we had to leave like now to go get these panels, so we didn't even have time to wait for that. So anyway, yeah. Lake Sylvia can be a very tight anchorage, but we have never experienced this many boats anchoring right on top of us in one place before. This particular boat anchored very close to us, and at 5 a.m. we ended up stern to stern. This was literally the morning after the catamaran debacle the day before. In calm conditions, this can happen sometimes, and it wasn't a huge deal except for the fact that they had their outboards up and out of the water with their props dangerously close to our boat. In our experience, it's a courtesy to leave your props in the water when you're around other boats, especially at the dinghy dock, because your dinghy prop could easily rub up against another dinghy while you're gone and pop it. Luckily, none of these incidences resulted in anyone's vessel being damaged. In our next episode, we finish installing our solar panels with the help of a couple friends. We get Starlink and start provisioning for the Bahamas. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It really helps our channel grow. If you enjoy our content, please consider supporting us on Patreon.